Vegas, especially when it comes to getting around town. We have the monorail, the underground tunnel, and public transportation. Add one more, catching a rideshare that has no driver.
And we have team coverage tonight of your future commute. We're going to get to Zora Asbury in just a moment, but we begin with anchor Rusty Matei and also when we might see these driverless vehicles right here on our streets.
Todd and Tricia, this is the product of a partnership between rideshare company Lyft and Motional, which is a company that is trying to make self-driving technology more mainstream. They say these robo-taxis will start transporting public passengers here in Las Vegas next year, with a full-fledged commercial launch to follow in 2023. Las Vegas will be the first of several cities where Lyft will offer an option to pick you up and take you where you need to go in a fully autonomous taxi. The driverless technology was developed by a company called Motional, and it's being tested on a track in Las Vegas. The company says these all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 5s will be the same robo-taxis you see on southern Nevada streets when the program starts next year. The company has already been offering a self-driving service in Las Vegas for the past 3 years under the name Aptiv. But the big difference is those vehicles still had a human being behind the wheel just in case of emergency, and these next-gen taxis will not. We wondered about how these vehicles might affect the existing rideshare drivers in Las Vegas. But longtime Lyft driver Todd Johnson says he's not too worried about the prospect of this technology taking his job.
Not at all, because they've had driverless cars here already and didn't affect us a bit. Most people are a little scared about riding with a driverless car because they're not used to it yet. I know it's the wave of the future, and I think down the road things will be great. But right now, I'm not the least bit worried.
Now, we did reach out to Lyft and Motional to try and find out how many of these robo-taxis they plan to operate here in Las Vegas, but we are still waiting to hear back. Live in the studio tonight, Ross DiMattei, 13 Action News.
Ross, thank you. Our newsroom-wide initiative looks into the challenges the growth of Las Vegas presents. We call it Meadows to Metropolis.
And so tonight, traffic anchor Zora Asbury now takes a deep dive into the future of transportation here in the Valley and also how it will now have a big impact on our lives as we continue to grow from Meadows to Metropolis.
I think this is an incredible time here for Southern Nevada. If you are involved in innovative transportation, this is the place to be, Clark County, Nevada. You've got everything from autonomous testing going on with Halo and autonomous rental cars. You've got the Vegas Loop project that we just approved recently that's going to move thousands and thousands of people underground in an efficient way, in a safe way.
In a time when it seemed like the entire world shut down, Las Vegas continued to work.
Because of that, we have a brand new NFL stadium that otherwise we wouldn't have had. We have the connection of the Boring Company was able to successfully complete the 3 stations at the Las Vegas Convention Center.
The traffic woes on some of our major arteries like the I-15, which is part of the freight system, alerted state officials to bottlenecks like the one at the Nevada-California state line.
To get to the routes through the rest of the country, it has to pass through I-15 and southern Nevada.
We cannot go weekend after weekend after weekend of seeing these backups as people return home.
Reducing those freight choke points is top of mind for officials like Christina Swallow, director of the Nevada Department of Transportation.
We're currently updating our freight plan, and that freight plan is going to look at where the bottlenecks are on our corridors. So what do we need to do to address those bottlenecks within the limits of the state? America's
population is expected to grow substantially by 2045, especially here in the West.
They actually anticipate between now and 2030 an increase in population here in Southern Nevada of 400,000 people, bringing us to over 2.6 million people in Clark County. So we're very aware of those estimations, and we're working with them to figure out what that looks like on our transportation system.
So how do we move forward faster, safer, and more efficiently?
It takes so many great partnerships and entities throughout the valley, like NDOT, RTC, and then private enterprises like the Boring Company to all come together and help to putting a solution in place.
Part of that is taking advantage of the transportation options that we already have in place, like the RTC.
We have a cohesive plan on what we want to do looking out into the future, and that's really important because that is what enables us to get federal funding, getting our money back here to Nevada.
Their new initiatives is RTC On Demand. It serves like a rideshare service, but for buses.
You can book a ride on the app It'll pick you up at your doorstep. It'll take you to any of the destinations within that service area.
To combat congestion even further, experts are looking below ground, where we are already seeing a growing network of underground transportation with the LVCVA Convention Center Loop. The LVCVA says that the Convention Center Loop is really a precursor to the future of transportation. With the SEMA conference, they were able to transport the most passengers that they've been able to transport, which really shows them what they can do for the Vegas Loop.
We just learned that 96,000 passenger rides were given just during that show alone. So it shows that the system has the capability to move guests around our campus, and the even larger application for the Vegas Loop that the Boring Company is now planning on taking destination-wide. And we believe this is the future of transportation in Southern Nevada.
As the population continues to grow, Clark County is looking at ways to cut down on emissions by having fewer cars on the road and encouraging more people to take other modes of transportation. The end result, cleaner air and safer streets. Reporting, Zora Asbury, 13 Action News.
And what about the future of people flying to Las Vegas? County commissioners say they are looking at plans for a Southern Nevada supplemental airport. The proposed site is in Jean, just south of the valley along the I-15. Commissioner Michael Naft, who oversees that area, says a new airport would bring new opportunities to the valley.
As we look at the direction that Reed International is going, capping out at about 60 million people, we don't want to handicap our tourism industry here. So making sure that we're leaving no stone unturned and looking at every opportunity in the future is really something that's essential for us to do.
Commissioner Naft says plans for any airport approval can take more than a decade. That's why they are starting their talks now. Well, these are just some of several stories we're doing about the growth here in our valley. Our exclusive series is streaming now on all digital platforms and streaming devices. Just point your camera on the screen right now to get access.